by the law, and also that they will be heard to the fullest.
Taking justice to the doorstep of every Gambian, an invigorated drive in the judiciary seeks to do more than just that as officials endeavor to instill increased quality and confidence in the justice delivery system. Ibrahim Jata, Grts.
Scores of cabinet ministers, among them the Secretary General and head of the Civil Service, Momodu Sabali, Saturday morning converged on their 7-hectare maize farm in Jalambang in the West Coast region. Our farmer Akanyi saw the ministers in action and reports they are very hopeful of a successful farming season.
The cabinet, represented by a sizable number of ministers, returned to their Jalamba farm as part of their efforts to sustain the country's food self-sufficiency drive. The initiative is championed by President Jammeh, who continues to serve as a shining example and the torchbearer of the Vision 2020. He has always been advocating for the operation back to the land since the advent of the Second Republic. This 3.7-hectare maize field is the first cabinet farm in Jalamba village, West Coast region. The farm was given to the cabinet ministers 3 years back. The ministers since then have been cultivating the land thanks to the support and the help of the community of Jalamba. The ministers took on the exercise at impressive speed, accompanied by the sound of drums. Abdukoli, the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, who is the farm manager, gives an overview of the situation on the farm and the support they receive from the head of state.
Almost all ministers are here today. The turnout has been very impressive, and they are all participating and doing active work. As you know, we are members of a government that is calling on people to go back to the land. And one of the best ways to demonstrate that call is to participate effectively ourselves. His Excellency the President, we all know, involves in active farming, and therefore his ministers are also expected to follow suit and do the same thing, to show to the people that you don't only have to depend on office work to live, and that farming is a noble activity, it's a noble venture, and it is one of the best ways to reduce poverty in this country.
Minister Colley went on to call on the youth folk to actively involve themselves in agriculture. According to him, farming is a lucrative business and helps to make a country self-sufficient. For her part, Honorable Fat Lamin Faye, the Minister for Basic and Secondary Education, the school feeding program under the sponsorship of the WFP is taxing the Gambia to supply their schools with the food they eat. According to her, the market has been set by the WFP. It's up to the Gambian farmers to commercialize their farming to a better standard.
So I want to call on all the youths to go out and farm, youth groups and women, because they are the only ones that can help us attain this objective of having our own homegrown school feeding program. And let me emphasize that it has happened in other countries and it worked. Gambia is amongst another set of countries that have been targeted to do it because they know it's doable. So I'm calling on everybody, because I don't want us to be the first country where it's implemented and it failed. It shouldn't fail. And we are going to buy any amount of rice that is grown in this country.
She concluded by thanking the President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Sir Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya E.J. Jammeh, for the support he renders to farmers. The Agriculture Minister Solomon Owens gives an in-depth analysis for this year's rainfall compared to the previous years, whilst concluding that this year's rains will not be a failure. He maintains that he and his ministry are with high hopes that this year's rains will be a success for the farmers.
It's not only to complement the efforts or go by the directives of the President, but it's helping realize the vision of the President with regards to food security. Because if everybody goes back to the land, no matter how small a piece of land you cultivate, it's going to contribute immensely to food security in the country.
When it comes to the general upkeep of crops in this year's farming season, Agriculture Minister Owens has some very important advice.
The big advice and the only advice is that help try and cope with the weeds. Because if the weeds suppress the crop, one, yields are very low, two, the farmer eventually abandons the field because he cannot cope with the weeds.
The Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service and the Minister for Presidential Affairs, Modu Sabali, thanked the Gambian leader for providing the enabling environment for such initiatives as the one the cabinet is embarking on. He went on to call all Gambians to eat from what they grow, irrespective of their positions in the government, citing the president as a role model for all Gambians.
Taking up from that, I would want to extend this, in my capacity as head of the civil service, to the rest of the civil service, that it's about time we cut down on the meetings and consultations and get to work. Not only in the farms, but even in the offices. We need to be more pragmatic, we need to be more proactive, taking our key from His Excellency the President, who, as I said before, always leads by example, not just by giving instructions to people.
After a day's work on the farm, officials are hopeful of a successful farming season and a greater reward on this very impressive farm. Farmer Akani, Grts News.
Friends of Nature, in partnership with the British High Commission, have handed over 1,000 seedlings to the Department of Forestry through Bigelow Forest Park. The seedlings, as Uminjai reports, are aimed at enriching the forest.
Presenting soaring roan palms competing for tallness amid exciting monkeys, making the most of the meandering vegetation. Tourists love to spend lazy days around here, bringing many a visitor who has fallen in love with the delightful spot. Now, maintaining this natural outlook is the responsibility of the Forestry Department, but it seems the park has more than one acquaintance committed to its preservation. Handing over 1,000 seedlings to the Forestry Department, the eco-driven group called Friends of Nature joined forces with the British High Commission to especially facilitate the revival of the park's indigenous tree species. Forestry officials affirm a great necessity for these seedlings, helping plant restoration and conservation efforts. 5 exclusive species feature among the 1,000 seedlings donated. Vital and well-timed, the move could surely bring more tourism for the park, whose chief attractions include a mesmeric variety of rare trees. Most of the varieties selected are no longer existing or face the peril of extinction.
When we plant, we want to make sure that it is protected. We don't just want to plant, and sometime in February when we come back, we cannot count on anything. This is really a waste of resource. We find out also that this reserve is really protected from all those who are going to intrude to do one thing or the other. So when we deliver these seedlings here, to us, we have delivered it at the right place.
Here, the Deputy British High Commissioner illustrates the aims of the scheme.
The British High Commission is very proud to be part of this project, which has been very ably carried out by Friends of Nature, the Gambia. The project will see 21,000 indigenous tree saplings planted across 4 community forest reserves in 2 villages in the West Coast region in the Gambia. The fact that these are indigenous tree species which are becoming close to extinction is great that we are able to help bring those back to the Gambia. These 1,000 saplings that we're donating here to Bigelow Forest Park will hopefully help improve tourism to the park, but also create an appreciation for the natural beauty of Gambia's indigenous tree population.
The Deputy Director of Forestry Department, Sam Bunget, expressed appreciation to the British High Commission and Friends of Nature for the gesture.
We are very happy today to be here with Friends of Nature and be part of this very important donation. The Department of Forestry has over the years reoriented its policy from what we used to know as contemporary forest management to more participatory management of the forest. The policy is calling on all stakeholders to come on board so as to conserve and protect our forest resources.
The seedlings would greatly impel forest enriching efforts, one of the major concerns of the Forestry Department seeking to keep the country's luxurious woodlands intact.
This is going to benefit the Department of Forestry for the fact that as we have